Knowing how to repair your clothes saves you a lot of money and reduces waste. The best stitch to learn is backstitch because you can mend all your seams on your clothes and it teaches you the core skills. This is what we're going to do today. Cut a thread no longer than the length of your arm. If you cut it longer, it just gets knotted, makes you slower. Trim the thread. Dampen it with your fingers. And you're lining the fibres up. They're very soft, and so they need to have strength. You give them strength by making them short in your helping hand, and they're just visible. It's just visible between your finger and thumb vertically, not horizontally, not sticking out here, vertically. Have your hands on a flat surface, and you lower what is a metal object would break the fibres if it hit it. You lower the eye of the needle, that's the eye, over the thread. There we are, and you pull it through. We're going to give you this size needle today, but I want to show you that once you've learned this, you can thread very, very small needles. So I'll chop the top off, dampen my fingers, make it nice and firm, tiny. Let's see if it'll focus. Yeah, look at that. And then you lower it over the top. There we are. Threaded needle. I'm going to demonstrate, not with this fine thread that you're using. I'm going to demonstrate with an embroidery thread because it'll make it easier for you to see in the video. So do the same thing. Hands on a flat surface, lower the needle over the thread. Take the thread, about the spare thread, this one, about halfway down, so that you've got single thread at one end, double at the other, and you're going to let that out as you go, because you only want to sew single thread. How you hold your needle is really important. Hold it between your thumb and first finger and your big finger, and that catches the threads, stop it from undoing when you're pulling it through. It's nice and firm. Then you put the thread between your ring finger and your little finger, and as you sew you will pull your little finger up and that will tension the stitches. Your needle will go in and out like that, and it's nice and firm, gives you control. Your helping hand organises the fabric. You've been given a piece of calico or some other cloth. You're going to fold it in half because when you're mending seams, you're always sewing two bits of fabric together. Pin. When you pin, your helping hand holds the cloth. You bend it, bend the fabric back again, and the pin comes over your nail bed so you don't get hurt. The pin is just to keep the fabrics together. There. Now, you're going to pretend that that's where the garment is still stitched, your t-shirt, your trousers or whatever. There we are, that's still the stitching line, but you've got a great big split in between. So put even dots about 3 millimeters apart from one end to the other. And if you stop, that'll be fine. You'll fill in the gaps with your own size stitches. If you've ever been taught sewing, I'm going to trim this down because it's too long. If you've ever been taught sewing, you may have been taught to knot. Please don't knot. Learn this different technique now. We teach stay stitch because it can go into any fabric. I'm going to put my needle in the fabric just before my split begins. So where there's still stitching, just above it. Bend the fabric and create a stitch, one stitch, small stitch. Pull the thread through until there's about 2 centimeters length left. Then go in again with my needle, come out again, over the nail bed, it won't hurt you, and do one more stitch. Pull it. If it's firm, that's fine. If it's not, do one more. Now you've learned stay stitch. You do stay stitch at the beginning and the end of every mend. It's important I never pass my needle to the back of my fabric because I can't see what I'm doing when I come forward. We're going to learn this stitch by bending the cloth. So this is back stitch. Go behind, bend the cloth, come up in front, one stitch length in front. Go behind, up again, one stitch in front. Behind, come up again, one stitch in front. So you end up with a longer stitch on the back than the front. You want nice even stitches. You want the thread to be firm but not over tight. And you gradually get into the rhythm of sewing more or less even stitches. It will never look like a sewing machine. Even if you've been sewing years, it'll never look like a sewing machine. But as long as it works, that's okay. Now let your thread out as you go. Mine was about to become double, so I let it out because you don't want double stitches. When you run out of your marks that you've drawn, just use the rhythm of bending the cloth to make the right length of stitch. When you get to the end, go beyond your gap and stitch it firmly. So you do a stay stitch, 1, 2, and that's firm. Trim. And I've done my back stitch. I went a bit wonky there, didn't I? Doesn't matter. There we are. That's what it looks like on the back. Now I'm going to cut the fabric open and we'll have a look and see how it looks. You can pull it. That's pretty stitched. Even, yeah? When you're buying garments, by the way, always check the seams. If they're nice and firm, buy it. If they're not firm, don't buy it. There we are. That's your first journey of repair.